$1,247. That's the balance in your checking account. You see it at 11:43 on a Wednesday night in the dim light of a phone you've been holding for 40 minutes already. The room is dark. The fan is on low. There's a half-empty glass of water on the nightstand from 2 days ago. You haven't moved it because moving it would mean admitting it's been there. The app is still open. You don't remember opening it. You don't remember the last 7 posts. You don't remember the last 30 minutes. You are 28 years old. You make $61,200 a year before tax. You have $1,247 in checking, $3,400 in savings, and a low hum of dread you carry from Sunday night through Friday morning that you have stopped trying to name. You set the phone face down on the mattress. You don't pick it up again that night. Year 1. You delete the apps on a Tuesday, not because of a manifesto, not because of a podcast, not because you read a book. You delete them because you woke up at 6:14 a.m. and the first thing you did was check a stranger's grocery haul before you'd opened your own eyes all the way. You count the hours that week, not as triumph, as data. You were spending 2 hours and 47 minutes a day inside those rectangles. You do the math on the back of a grocery receipt at the kitchen counter. That number, over a year, is 826 hours, almost 35 full days, the equivalent of a working month every year, gone into other people's choices. The first week without them is the longest week of your life. You reach for the phone constantly. Your hand finds the rectangle, and there is nothing there. The fingers don't know what to do with themselves. You read a book you've owned for 3 years. You read it slowly. You don't post about it. On Sunday, you sit in your kitchen and you don't know what to do with the quiet. The fridge hums. A neighbor closes a door. You hear it. You haven't heard a door close in a long time. This is what disappearing feels like in the first month. Not freedom, not yet, just absence, a space the noise used to fill that you have to learn how to occupy yourself. Year 2. You open a Roth IRA on a Sunday night. It takes 17 minutes, you fund it with $200, which is what you have to spare that month, and you set a recurring transfer for the first of every month. You don't tell anyone. There is no one to tell. The people you would have told are inside apps you no longer open. Your sister Junie calls. Junie is 31, has 2 kids, drives a Subaru with Cheerios crushed into the upholstery. She asks how you've been. You say good. She asks if you saw what their cousin Ren posted. You say no. Junie laughs and says, "Right, you're off all that now." She says it gently. She doesn't ask why. You learn that the people who love you don't actually need the updates. You learn that the people who needed the updates were not loving you. They were watching you. The Roth IRA contribution becomes $300 a month in October. You don't celebrate it. You just adjust the auto transfer. You start keeping a notebook on the kitchen counter. Linen-bound, cream cover, a pen clipped to the spine. In it, the date, the balance, 1 sentence about the week. Nothing else. No goals, no vision board, just the number, the date, the sentence. By December of year 2, the Roth has $4,300 in it. You stare at it for a long time. The number is small, but the number is yours, and it arrived because of a decision nobody applauded. That is the first time you understand the math of compounding, not as a concept, as a feeling. The shift. You stop measuring your life by what other people can see. Year 3, the contribution goes to $580 a month. Year 4, $620. By year 5, you are maxing the Roth at $7,000 annually, plus contributing 9% of your salary to a 401k you set up at the new job, plus dropping the overflow into a brokerage account holding a total market index fund with an expense ratio of 0.03%. You did not become a financial expert. You read 3 books over 3 years. You set up 4 automatic transfers. The rest is just time. I did this too at 31. The money was the easy part. The disappearance was the part that almost broke me. By the end of year 5, your investment accounts hold $52,400. The market dipped 3 times in those years, once by 11% in a single month. You didn't sell. You didn't check. The accounts grew because you had stopped looking at them, the same way you'd stopped looking at the apps. Your friend Mira calls you on a Thursday in October. Mira had been an influencer with 84,000 followers when you last spoke. Mira is crying. Mira tells you she has not slept properly in 8 months. Mira tells you her engagement is dropping and she has been working 60-hour weeks trying to fix it. Mira tells you she wants to quit but doesn't know how she would pay rent. You listen. You don't say anything for a long time. Eventually, you ask if she wants to come over. When she arrives, she sits in your kitchen and looks around and says, very quietly, "It's so still in here." You realize then that you have built something she cannot see and cannot photograph, a room that is not performing, a life that is not auditioning. The quiet part. More than half the people who turned the apps into a job have considered quitting in the last year. They cannot. They are paying rent with the algorithm. You walked away before it could trap you, and you didn't know that was what you were doing. You just thought you were tired. Year 6. You are 34. You have $94,000 in investment accounts, a salary of $78,000, and a 6-month emergency fund. You drive a 2019 Honda Civic with 67,000 miles on it. You live in a 1-bedroom apartment that you have lived in for 4 years. The rent is $1,340. You go to a wedding for an old friend from college. 3 people, separately, ask you where you've been. Each time you have to think about how to answer. You say, around. You say, just working. You say, life got quiet for a while. Each answer is true. None of them are the whole answer. The whole answer is that you removed yourself from the surface of the world 6 years ago and built a life underneath it, and you are not sure how to describe that without sounding like you are claiming something. At the reception, you sit next to a woman named Sloan. Sloan is in her late 40s. She owns a small architecture firm. She wears a navy linen dress and a thin gold chain and nothing else, and she carries herself the way people carry themselves when they have stopped asking the room for permission. Sloan asks what you do. You tell her. She nods. She asks what you read. You tell her. She asks what your money is invested in. You tell her that too. The index fund, the Roth, the small position in a duplex you are about to close on in a secondary market. Sloan says, "How long have you been off social media?" You say, "Almost 7 years." Sloan says, "I could tell. The room sits differently around people who are not performing for it." You don't sleep well that night, not from anxiety, from the precise sentence she said. By year 7, the duplex is yours. Purchase price, $174,200. Down payment, $34,800. Net rental income, $720 a month after every cost. The duplex is not exciting. The duplex does not photograph well. The duplex sends you a deposit on the 5th of every month and asks nothing of you in return. By year 8, you have made one decision you will tell your future self about. You turned down a promotion that would have paid $22,000 more a year and required you to be on Slack at all hours. You said no, not dramatically, not in a meeting, in a one-line reply to an email at 8:14 on a Tuesday morning. "I appreciate the consideration. I'm going to pass on this opportunity, but I'm grateful you thought of me." You sent it before you could overthink it. Your manager replied with 3 lines and a soft surprise. The role went to someone else. You stayed where you were, your salary stayed the same, your evenings stayed yours. This is what walking away looks like at scale. It stops being dramatic. It becomes a one-line email at 8 in the morning, sent before the coffee finishes brewing. Year 9. The investment accounts cross $148,000. The duplex equity reaches $61,000. Combined net worth, after the car and the emergency fund and a few smaller things, sits at $217,400. You are 37. You have not announced any of this. There is no one to announce it to.
The people who matter know you in person. They have eaten in your kitchen. They have borrowed your books. They know what your laugh sounds like and what you take in your coffee. The people who don't know any of that are not missing anything. They never were. Junie, your sister, calls in March. She has been laid off. She has $3,200 in savings and 3 months of severance. You don't lecture her. You don't say, if only you had. You drive over on Saturday with groceries and a list of things to figure out, and you sit at her kitchen counter for 4 hours. That afternoon, you transfer her $8,000. Not a loan, a transfer. You tell her not to mention it again. You have never been able to do that before. You are doing it now because of a decision you made 9 years ago in a quiet bedroom with $1,247 in checking, and you do not connect those two facts out loud. You don't have to. The quiet part. The wealth was never the point. The wealth was the proof that you could choose differently and survive. The room you built around it, the calendar with space in it, the friendships without performance, the freedom to write your sister a check without flinching, that was the actual return on investment. Year 10, you are 38 years old. Combined net worth, $284,000. The duplex is cash flowing. The Roth IRA, untouched, sits at $124,300. You have not posted anything online in 10 years and 3 months. A new colleague at work, 26 years old, asks you on a Wednesday what your secret is. You laugh gently because you don't have one. You say, I stopped watching everyone else. She looks at you for a long second. You can see her thinking. You don't say anything else. You don't need to. The shift. You become the person other people study quietly, the way you once studied women you did not know. Somewhere tonight, a 28-year-old is sitting on the edge of a mattress with a phone in her hand and $1,247 in checking. She is tired in a way she does not know how to describe. She has been holding the rectangle for 40 minutes. The fan is on low. There is a glass of water on the nightstand. She doesn't know that she is one decision away. She doesn't know that the apps were never the price of admission to the life she wants. They were the price of admission to someone else's. She thinks deleting them would mean disappearing. She doesn't know yet that disappearing is just the first step. Maybe she sets the phone down tonight. Maybe she doesn't. The market opens Monday morning. The money compounds whether anyone watches or not. The years pass either way. The only thing left to decide is whether you spend them as the audience or as the one quietly building the thing nobody can see. I write a small letter every Sunday morning about money this quiet doesn't usually get talked about. If that's something you want, the link is in the description. Take care of yourself.